start recording this. I'm sorry. Okay, so in this D2L link, this is where the Zoom meeting was, and what, now I already forgot who just asked about this homework from the textbook was down here. And this is what you can't type in, it is just a PDF.
Okay.
Okay, and we will look at this again today. This I will set up as an assignment, so ultimately I'll also have a link to it here from assignments. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to assign this problem right here, problem number 1, and you can either write this down on notebook paper or you could print like this page. But out of this homework, there's I don't remember how many pages of it, 6 pages. Really, you're only going to have homework on a couple pages. So I will create a homework assignment where I'm going to say do numbers 1 and 2 and number 9 and whatever. Okay, and that you will upload, and that will be handwritten.
Okay.
But
1,
again,
2, and 9.
pardon me?
1, 2, and 9.
Oh, don't worry about which ones they are. I'll post that, and they're not going to be due until next week. This week, I'm just making sure everyone can get in there and start finding things. I have a listing of the homework questions, so I'll post all of that at the same time so that it's clear.
All right,
Is
so
that
we
okay?
have no assignments that's due this week at all.
Nothing that is due this week at all.
Thank you.
Unbelievable, isn't it? I know. Yeah, nothing due this week. What I wanted this week was to make sure everyone could get into My Math Lab. And as of this morning, I believe there was only 12 of you who made it into My Math Lab. So again, and some of you have been coming to the meetings. You were here yesterday. You've logged into D2L. I have a couple people who came to the class meeting yesterday and haven't even logged into D2L. So please, please, please make sure you can get in here. And that for My Math Lab, again, what you'll do is you'll copy this code here just the first time. You'll never need it again after that. You'll go down, you'll log into My Math Lab, and you'll set up a username and password.
And you said yesterday we don't have to worry about the username. It'll just prop up for us, something like you said. Am I right? You said we don't have to have code or anything?
Oh, for the instructor code, correct. You won't need an instructor code. That will pop up automatically.
All right.
Yeah, but you won't even be prompted for that. Once you get in, it should look something like this in My Math Lab. And again, this calendar shows what's due, and oh, maybe I'm a liar and I do have something due on Thursday. So yes, the first assignment is due this Thursday at midnight. So due at 11:59 p.m. is the homework from section 1.2. And 1.2 is what we're gonna hit on today and tomorrow. So that will give you 2 days of, we'll talk about it in class, and then that will be due Thursday night, but it also gives me a chance to know who's in there and if the system is working.
Okay, I do have a question.
Yep.
Okay, with the homework 1.2, there's 2 different ones, the one from the textbook and the one you can write in. Are you gonna label them so we won't kind of get confused?
Right, well, so you're gonna do, there's 2 types of homework. There's the My Math Lab homework, and that will all be on the screen. You'll be able to see it all. It will all have due dates. The separate then, the written work will only be in D2L. And in this case, I'll set up assignments. And again, this is new, so if it gets confusing, let me know. But what I'll do is I'll set it up an assignment here that will say these problems off of this worksheet are due.
All right.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
So, is there a downloadable book, or is it a book that we have to download? I just joined yesterday.
Yeah, no problem. So there's 2 things. You'll see once we get into things today, the book, actually I have it open on my desk right now. I use the book. It's called a work text, like it's a workbook. So actually I'm gonna do a lot of the problems in the book, and I'm gonna write in the book. But you have access to that. You can click on, if you see on my screen right now here at the e-text.
Mm-hmm.
You can also, if you're just working section, that'll take you to like the cover. But if you go to section or cycle 1 and section 1.2, when you click on the e-text here, it will take you in exactly to that section.
Okay.
And I already have that open. My toolbar is in the wrong place. Let me see if I can scooch it over.
They have an app too for e-text.
They do. On your phone, did you download it?
I downloaded the app.
Yeah. What is it called again? I don't remember.
It's just called, let's see, it's called e-text.
E-text, so like a Pearson e-text,
Yep.
and you can download that. And what's nice about the electronic text, this is where we're going to start today, but if you notice these, this icon right here, the little video camera, that will launch a little video that corresponds with this section. So we'll look at that today also. So you can print pages out of here. You can view pages out of here. You know, if you have multiple devices and want to be, you know, on Zoom on one and looking at the computer textbook, that's a good thing. The bookstore also has copies of it you can buy if you would like a physical copy. You can probably get them other places as well. But I'll use the textbook a lot.
I have a question for the My Math Lab.
Sure.
Okay, so since the homework is available online, is it okay if we go ahead, or would you like us to stick like with you course by course?
Truthfully, if you want to work ahead, I'm okay with that. I did not release a lot of the homework, so I do have it parsed out. And the due dates I have are my best estimates right now. So, you know, we might get behind, we might get ahead. I tend to talk too much and we don't ever get ahead. But if you want to work ahead, you are welcome to. Just be aware that sometimes I might take a problem out or modify it a little bit. So that would be the only thing to be aware of, is you might end up doing more homework than I actually end up assigning.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I think what you'll find in this first section is some of you, this will be very easy, and some of you, you'll be like, I don't know what's going on. Ultimately, I think that will level out in terms of your comfort level in the classroom. Other questions?
What was I going to ask? I can't think. I lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something, but that's okay.
I'm sorry. Just at any time, and you can pop it in the. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second here. You can pop it in the chat if you come up with a question. The other thing, we'll see if his technology is working. Nathaniel, are you available?
I am.
Okay, so Nathaniel or Nathan is our embedded tutor, and he has taught this class in the past also. But he will be a resource that, yeah, why don't you do your spiel, Nathan?
Sure. Well, for this semester, I'll be participating in a lot of the classes throughout this semester. And I'll be like the alternate resource to your instructors. So I will have my own set of office hours that you can pop by during and ask questions. I'm also a tutor in the tutoring center. We offer online one-on-one tutoring through Zoom. And so there will be times starting next week where you can schedule an appointment with me or another tutor and ask questions about math.
Right.
And specific to this course, if you have questions about getting into my math lab or homework questions or really anything, and you can't get in touch with Kira, you can try to email me or set up a meeting with me, and we can walk through some of those things as well. Is it all right if I share my hours?
Yes.
Alrighty. So for embedded tutoring specific to this class, I will be available Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the morning, so right before this class, and also 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then for general tutoring hours, where you can set up a one-on-one appointment with me or any other tutor, I will be available from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock Mondays and Wednesdays. So there's lots of times throughout the day where you'll be able to get in touch with me.
How do we get up with you?
You can use a link if you go to the D2L page, the main page. At the bottom of that page, that I believe is in the bottom right corner, there is a button that says Academia on it. And if you click that link, it'll take you to the web page where you can create an appointment. And it'll give you a list of tutors and a list of times. You would select my name, or you could really select any tutor's name and create an appointment there.
I was going to see if I could, so this is D2L, that you're in one of your classes. You're going to scroll down to Academia.
Okay.
Okay, and you're going to set up an appointment.
Now, it might look a little bit different for you because you're an instructor.
And it doesn't think I'm in any classes, but yeah, so it will look different for you. But the other thing I'll do is I'll get from Nathan his office hours and email, and I'll post that also.
Right, I can actually type that in the chat right now.
Okay.
And Cairo, you were breaking up when you were telling me that I can't do like meeting. What you were saying earlier to me, Sonia Davis, you said I can't.
Oh, when I was setting up the Zoom meeting, the way I have it set up is you're in my personal room rather than it's all behind the scenes stuff. But the way it's set up, I cannot put you into groups. So I can't put like 4 of you in a little subgroup. So ultimately, I may have to change that because I do want you to be able to do some group work.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Ready to do some math? Or do you have some more questions? I'm sorry.
I'm done.
And not just you personally, anyone.
I'm just saying I'm done.
Okay. All right, very good. So where I'm going to start for us today is in the course text is with this problem. Can everyone see this screen okay? Can you read this?
Yes.
Okay. And this is where I was going to put you into groups, but because I can't put you in groups, I am going to let you all look at this page and this first problem, and I encourage you do some thinking in your notebook, play with a calculator if you want to. I'm going to look at my clock right here, and I'm going to give everyone 3 minutes to think about this problem. And I'm going to time us, okay?
I don't even know what I'm doing, so oh well.
That's okay. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't expect everyone to know how to do this. It's a very difficult problem. So I'm timing us for 3 minutes.
Hard one for me.
Sorry. So did that feel like the longest 3 minutes of your life?
Yeah.
Okay, and I did not do this to torture you. That was not my intent. It was just to get you thinking about math and thinking about what you know and what you're comfortable with and that type of information. So you tell me, did anyone come up with a number here that they think
No.
fits it?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
I'm not entirely sure. Nathan, did you come up with this number?
I tried one.
Okay.
I got something like 1,113.362.
You got 1,000.
113.362.
That might work. We'd have to play with it. Okay. So
Yeah, there's
let's start.
other variations.
Yeah, there are other variations. So let's talk about what, oops, I'm sorry. Let's talk about some of the challenges here. Everyone was good with it has 7 digits, right? I have to imagine that. So I would start with like, oh, I'm trying to draw. I'm not doing a good job. 7 little blanks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on. 7. Something like that. Everyone got that far, right? The numbers between 1,000 and 10,000. So if you think about 10,000, 1,0,0,0,0. Well, this has 2 more digits than 10,000 has. So that tells me there has to be a decimal. Did anyone else realize that there had to be a decimal?
No.
No.
No? Okay. So, and if it's between 1,000 and 10,000, really 10,000 would be the biggest number, so it's probably less than 10,000, which again, if we just play with this number a little bit, sorry, I have to keep moving my toolbar here. If I go with 9999, 9,999, that tells me I have to have a decimal right here. So it's the world's ugliest decimal, okay? Then we go the digit in the 10th place. So if this is my decimal, does everyone know where the 10th place is?
In front of it.
So is this the 10th place? Or is this the 10th place?
Yeah.
To the
There.
other side.
Yeah, I forgot because I see the TH.
The TH means after the decimal. So we know that this guy here is 150% of the digit in the thousandths place. So the thousandths place, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we're talking about these 2 places. That's also, actually, I don't think I would have gotten that there was a decimal until I was down here, which very clearly says there's decimals and we have to go at least 3 decimal places. But then it's got a percent, and percent is a pain in the butt. So let's say I'm just going to skip this. The digit in the hundredths place is 6/5 the sum of the digits in the tenths place and the thousandths place. Wow, that is just a lot of words. So let's pause on that for a second. And then down here it says the sum of the digits in the number is 17. What does that mean? The word sum here.
Addition.
It means addition, which means if I add this number plus 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 this number, I get 17. And that right there, if you're taking 7 digits and adding them together and getting 17, is going to give you a clue that some of these numbers are pretty small, but not as small as 0. Okay, we're not going to work through this. There are some answers. We could check Nathaniel's and see if his is right, if it works for all of this. But let's talk about some of the issues you had. I'm guessing some of you got a little ways, and no one said they had a guess, but what did you come up with?
I didn't.
You didn't, okay. And don't feel like, again, don't feel like that's a bad thing.
Oh, without a doubt, I'm here to learn, so it doesn't bother me. I'm trying to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, good. Okay. And you know what? This isn't going to be a test question. This isn't going to be a quiz question. It's to get you thinking. And one of the things that's challenging with math is being aware of all these words, like paying attention that this is tenths with the S, and that means decimal. It's working with percent. It's working with fractions. It's knowing that the word sum means addition. We're going to work on all of those terms. This kind of question is some of what you're going to see. If you've started in the My Math Lab, what you're going to see is a bunch of problems that just look like the math problems you've seen forever. It's a whole bunch of add these two numbers, multiply these two numbers. What this is going to be more conceptual. So thinking about it, understanding the vocabulary, and doing some work. I'm just going to leave this go right here. Now, there were, like Nathan said, there's several possibilities here for this number, and then they throw in this question. Can you write one additional description so that there's only one possible number? So if you were able to come up with a couple numbers, then, you know, they're asking you to think more. So the flow of this textbook is they're going to throw an explore question, which is getting you thinking outside of sort of the usual box. And then goes into some content. This first chapter talks a little bit about Venn diagrams, which I'm not going to cover for this class. I'm going to skip over that. But what is nice on this page here, on page 7, is it talks about some skills. And what skills do you have and what skills do you need to work on? So can you perform these without a calculator? And I'll be honest, I obviously can do this, but at some point, 114 divided by 18, I'm breaking out my calculator. Like, it's just, life is too short. It's not worth it. But if you had to, could you do these problems? Could you add and subtract fractions with like denominators, without like denominators? We're going to cover all of these, B, C, D, and E, right here in this first section. And then as we move forward, we're going to work on some more of these skills. And that's where I said some of you have these skills down and this will be relatively easy. Some of you are going to have to refresh the skills, so they'll come back to you. And some of you might be learning these skills sort of brand new. That's okay. We'll ultimately all come to the same place and get those skills developed. Okay? So I don't want anyone to be afraid. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about fractions. And I'm actually going to start with an example similar to this that's in the textbook. And that's the idea of equivalent fractions. And I really like this graphic here. So the idea is if you have a fraction like 1/3, that you can visualize it. So let's talk about a fraction. I lost my toolbars here. Okay, so a fraction like 1/3, let's talk about fractions in general. What's the number on top called? Can anyone tell me that?
Numerator?
Okay, numerator. I'm going to type that in so you don't have to look at me trying to. And what's the number on the bottom?
The denominator.
Excellent. Oops. Okay, so a fraction by definition has a numerator, has a denominator. The other nice description of a fraction is that of a part of a whole. So in the case of 1/3, this is our whole. This whole, I always like to think of these as candy bars or a Pop-Tart. That was my nutritious breakfast today. If you imagine this being a whole Pop-Tart, if I only ate part of it, the part of it I ate was 1 piece out of 3 pieces, the part over the whole. Okay, so that's 1/3. Equivalent fractions are, you can build up to a bigger or different looking fraction. You can also simplify or reduce down. If you're building up, that's also called scaling. So in this case, if I broke my Pop-Tart into more pieces, like I split it in half here and then in thirds, and I ate 2 bits, you see I'm still eating the same amount, but I'm calling it 2 out of 6. I ate 2 parts out of 6 parts, and the whole is made up of the 6. Okay. So that's the idea of a fraction. Now, the other way I could go is that 2/6 is the same as 1/3. Simplifying, scaling. Oops. My goal is not to just read the textbook to you. So here's that example. And then I'd like to look at this problem here, number 4 in the book. And I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. In a class of 20 students, 17 of them passed a prerequisite skills test. What percent of the students passed the quiz? Instead of using a calculator or division to solve this problem, create an equivalent fraction. This process is known as scaling. Okay. Again, some of you are probably looking at this and you're not a happy campers, because again, they're talking about words like percent and we're talking about fractions. But let's start with what we know. To start with a fraction, we want a part over a whole. What is the whole?
20.
20. So there's a total of 20 students. What part of them are we talking about?
17.
17, because we care about the ones that passed. Be careful, math, you know, sometimes math can be sneaky. They might have said what percentage of students failed the quiz. And then you would have had to go, if we asked about the number who failed, then the part would be 3 out of 20.
Yeah.
Now we want a percent. What can anyone tell me about percents?
Move a decimal place.
Okay, so you're moving the decimal place. So if I had something like 27%, if I wanted to turn that into a decimal, what would it be as a decimal?
2.7.
Almost.
0.27.
0.27. Okay. Now, so,
Yeah,
and I'm not catching names fast enough to know who's talking. So we are moving a decimal. So 27 as a whole number has a decimal right here. We're moving a decimal. What else? Can anyone tell me if we break down this word percent? The word per, we have an idea that's the number per classroom or the number of cookies per bag. It's out of how many. What about the word cent? I heard someone say it. It's 100, right? So this means per 100. So 27% actually means 27, and this number I just made up. It has nothing to do with this problem. Per 100. That word is 100. So 27% is the same as 27 over 100 per 100. And if you did this on your calculator, what happens to this decimal here is it moves over 2 spots. So 27% is the same as 0.27. Okay. So if you ever don't remember, again, break out your calculator. If it's 5%, you do 5 divided by 100, you would get 0.05. Okay. So to come back to this problem, we want to find a percent, which means we don't have a percent. We don't have per 100, we have per 20. We want this to be per 100. Okay, so we're going to scale. So we want to make this 20 bigger. We want to make it 100. Does anyone know what I have to multiply 20 by to make it 100? 5. And again, the shortcut is I'm doing it with my fingers on the screen, which you can't see. If I cover up both the zeros at the end, I have a 2 and a 10. 2 times 5 is 10. Now, if I multiply by 5, I change the number. The trick is, if I multiply by 5 over 5, what is 5 divided by 5?
1.
1. And any number times 1, I'm going to change this to multiplication here. So forget that.
It's the same number.
And is the same number. So 20 times 5 is 100. Now they said to do it without a calculator, but I'm going to cheat and use a calculator. What's 17 times 5?
85.
85.
Damn.
So the percent, to get the final answer here, what is the percent?
85.
85.
85.
Would it be 0.85?
Nope, it's 85%.
Okay.
Because this symbol right here means this number divided by 100. So if you look back up here, when we wrote 27 with this symbol, this percent sign, it means that whole number divided by 100.
I can't see over there because everyone's over here. This part you get to the
Oh,
87%.
I'm sorry, and I've had that trouble too. You can click on the people and move them around. And unfortunately, I can't screen share how to move stuff around in Zoom.
That's why I said 0.85 because I didn't see this 27%.
Yeah, but so it's 85%. If I was going to change the 85% to a decimal, it would be 0.85. But once you write that, you remove the percent sign.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, this just refreshed my memory.
Yep. Did you have a question or you're good?
Good.
You're good. All right. So that's the idea of scaling. Let's see what else I have time for today. I'm going to move to the next page. And let me make this smaller so maybe everyone can see everything. Okay, so can everyone see this question number 5 down here? Can you see all of it?
I can.
Yes.
Okay. And see there's this little video camera here?
Yeah.
Okay, again, the idea here, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So be prepared. It's going to bring up a video and it's going to talk to us. Oh, if I play it, it will talk to us. So when you're using the textbook, you can do this at any time. I'm gonna not do that because I'm gonna actually talk about it. Go
I
ahead.
actually have the textbook open right now. I'm looking at it, and that video thing is not above the problem. It was only on some of them.
Okay, and part of it I think is also how you get to the textbook. Oh, I don't even know where I am in here right now. So I flip back to my math lab. If I look at the e-text, this might go very badly because I have the book open already. Sometimes it's just the e-text, and sometimes it's the interactive text, like it's got a different name to it. So let me see what just pops up here. Okay, so I went to page 10 in this book, and there is no video camera. So the difference,
That's the one I'm on.
yeah, the difference is the e-text. How I opened the textbook today was I went into cycle 1 and section 1.2. I don't know why this is different. It's called the same thing, but the version here opened that multimedia text, which does have links to video.
Okay.
So it's something, again, that we're learning and figuring out, and
Thank you.
hopefully we'll get it. Yeah. Okay. I think we have time just for today to look at this problem. Like I said, even though we could watch the video, let's work this one together also. And that's the idea if you have the physical textbook. When I've taught this in the classroom before, you know, I have people like write in your textbook, which no one liked to do, I'll be honest with you. It feels foreign. At a particular college, half of all freshmen start in developmental math. Of those who start at this level, 4/5 start in beginning algebra. What is the chance that a freshman at this college starts in beginning algebra? Give your answer as a percent without using a calculator. So if I asked you all to raise your hands and I said, who loves doing word problems? I'm guessing, like, I'm not going to see very many people with their hands up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to dissect all of this. And some of what, you know, I've talked to lots of students over the years, and they said, well, you know, my teacher said, you know, just grab each of the numbers and then you do something with them. Well, I only see one number here. I see 4/5. That doesn't work. That's not very helpful. So let's look at what's hidden in here. At a particular college, half, is that a number?
Yes.
You betcha. Half of all freshmen. Now the word of, does anyone know? I mean, it's not always.
Divide?
Sometimes of is just of. You're close. It's not divide.
Times?
Is multiplication. So the word of usually means multiply. So half of, I'm going to use the little dot for multiplication, half of all freshmen. Okay, now the question is, we don't know how many freshmen. If it said half of 200, we could do that in our head. But it says half of all freshmen. So let's get into the next sentence and break down some more stuff. What is the chance that of those, so that of doesn't really mean multiply, of those who start at this level, 4/5 start in beginning algebra. So half of all the freshmen is going to give us some number. And then that number, we're going to take 4/5 of. So it's not written there, but if I'm going to do 4/5 of something, what are you doing with that 4/5?
Times it.
Multiplying again, yeah. So what I'm going to do, because I don't know what the number of freshmen is, I'm going to take half of it, and then I'm going to take 4/5 of it, and I would multiply by the number of freshmen. But we don't know the number of freshmen, and really we don't care because we're looking for what percent of freshmen. So this is going to tell us what portion of all the freshmen. Okay. So maybe some of you here remember, what's the rule for multiplying two fractions together?
You cancel out, so 2 would be 1 and 4 would be 2.
Okay, look at you. So we could do this. We could say 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Does everyone remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of you will, some of you won't, and that's okay. Let's say you didn't remember that, and that's not the end of the world. Let me see if I can get rid of just that little bit.
Wasn't there a different way, or am I just thinking too hard? I thought you could do like 4 times 2 as well. And
Are you thinking of like the butterfly method?
yeah.
Oh,
There-
yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
So like this cross multiplication,
Yeah.
you would do that only if there's an equal sign in between these two fractions.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard of a lot of teachers as growing up is doing a shortcut like that. If this was addition in here, I'm gonna say let's not do that. The rule for multiplying fractions, you can simplify first or you can simplify at the end. I'm gonna simplify at the end. The rule is you multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 5 is 10. And then you would simplify now. I would look at that and say, okay, I need to simplify that. I can divide a 2 out of the 4. I can divide a 2 out of the 10. Either way, you end up with 2/5 as an answer. Okay. I know I'm over. If you will humor me for 1 more minute, can I show you another example?
Yes.
No problem, go.
And if you need to run, you run. That's completely okay. I'm going to clear out everything I have here and go back to, all right, what we're doing is 1/2 times 4/5. And let's look at a drawing.
What?
This, can you see that rectangle? It's a horribly ugly rectangle.
Yes.
That's like my Pop-Tart again. Sometimes they're candy bars, but like I said, today it's Pop-Tart. If I do 1/2, that's this. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I think I can actually do this nicer. Maybe not. Okay, this is my 1/2. I'm going to fill that in up on top. Imagine that that's pretty. I can probably do this some other way, but so this is my 1/2, 1 piece out of 2. And now I'm going to take this exact same figure and I'm going to split it in a different way. So for 4/5, if I want to divide this into 5 pieces, I'm sorry, I'm just sort of eyeballing this and my drawing is really ugly. 3. Okay, so see where the red lines makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces if I go vertically like that? And if I color in 4 of those, if I look at what's colored in with both colors, how many have both the red and the blue?
7.
4.
So red and blue together is this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. So 4
Okay.
out of how many little squares do I have?
8.
10.
1, 2,
10.
14, sorry, 10.
You want to count all of them, 10. So 4 out of 10. That's my fraction, but I can simplify that to
2/5.
2/5. And that's harder to see because my drawing is so bad. But if you line these up differently, and you can't see what I'm doing with my fingers, if you rotated these squares here should be the same as these squares. So if I covered these two and moved them down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, would be the same as 2/5. Does the visual help?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to leave us right here today. Again, there's nothing due yet today. We're going to talk more about fractions tomorrow. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see everyone again. If you want to, and if you want to work ahead, definitely get in there, take a look at that 1.2 homework, make sure you can get into My Math Lab. If you're having issues with any of it, please, please, please just reach out to me, reach out to Nathan, and we'll get you set up.
And the 1.2 is the only homework that's due on Thursday, correct?
Correct, and that's just the My Math Lab 1.2.
Okay, because I don't have my book yet. I ordered it, but I do know that your math lab do have the workbook as well, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Okay? Everyone have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.